Sixers fans, how we feeling out there? Hey y'all, my name is Lauren Gordon. Some of you may already know me on social media as Lauren Fan of the Year. Others may have just stumbled upon this podcast, but either way, I want to first thank all of you for tuning in to Season 3, Episode 12 of my very first podcast. I'm just a Sixers fan, the Lauren Fan of the Year story. Now let's continue the story. Y'all, the time is now April 16th, 2022. It's game day. It's the playoffs. Round 1, game 1. As the 4th seed, we had home court advantage against the 5th seed Toronto Raptors. After doing my Sixers fan video, I headed to North Hills to pick up my cousin, Keandra. I wanted to pick her up early because remember, I mentioned in the last episode, it was the Philly sports trifecta. Our Sixers had an early matinee game at 1 p.m. The Phillies played at 4 p.m., and the Flyers played at 7:30 p.m. I knew traffic was going to be ridiculous because one thing about Philly fans, we are going to make game day an all-day pep rally and celebration. Also, factor in, the weather was absolutely gorgeous. It was like the most perfect day. I picked up Keandra. She was wearing her throwback black 2001 season Allen Iverson jersey. I was wearing my royal blue number 21 Joel Embiid jersey with Phila across the chest. I had on my matching blue mirrored sunglasses, and the Sixers flag was attached to my rear car window and was blowing in the breeze. I had the sunroof open, and Keandra and I were locked in. We were ready for this game and was feeling good about our chances of pulling out a win. We weren't listening to music on the radio. No, we were tuned in to 97.5 The Fanatic. I believe it was either Tyrone Johnson or maybe even Devon Givens who was on the air for the pregame show. I think it was Devon because the Sixers was his expertise and niche on the station. Devon knew anything and everything about our Philadelphia 76ers. Keandra and I wanted to hear his analysis and get his scoop on how he measured the head-to-head matchups. We were hype, and occasionally we would co-sign Devon with a yes, let's go, every time he said something that we agreed on or added to our excitement. Normally, y'all, when going to the arena, I take the blue route from Norristown down to 95. Then I take 95 North, past the airport, over the Blue Bridge, down to the Broad Street exit ramp, onto Broad Street to the Wells Fargo Center. But because I went in the opposite direction to pick up Keandra, it was easier for me to just hop on 76, the Schuylkill. I usually try to avoid 76 because the roadway is, let's face it, y'all, outdated with just 2 lanes in each direction. But heck, we left early enough where we didn't have to rush, so it didn't really matter. We got caught in some traffic, and we kept noticing a black Jeep that we kept meeting up with in the other lane. I stayed in the fast lane, of course, and the driver in the black Jeep was in the other lane on the right. We would creep up, then his lane would move fast, and then we'd speed up and pass him, and then he'd creep up and pass us. So it was like a lot of this back and forth, but we would always kind of like meet up at certain spots. After a few miles of this, he yelled over, "Hey, I see your license plate, Sixers fan. Are you the Sixers fan?" Y'all, smiling from ear to ear, I proudly yelled, "Yes, I love our Sixers. I'm a season ticket holder and I'm their number 1 fan." He said, "Really? Where do you sit?" I said, "Section 120. He said, "Nice." As we were both creeping along in the traffic, I yelled back over, "Are you going to the game? And if so, you should find me." Y'all, he was a nice looking brother. And the good vibes that day was just making me feel a little flirty. And he just laughed and said, "Yes, I'm heading to the arena now." And y'all, while driving, he handed us his business card and pulled off. Y'all, it was KJ, Kevin Johnson, the Sixers trainer. Keandra and I looked at each other and we were like, ah! We couldn't believe it. We had a whole conversation with Kevin Johnson, the Sixers trainer, from our cars while stuck in traffic going to a Sixers playoff game. And neither one of us knew who he was until he gave us his business card and pulled off. Keandra and I arrived at the Wells Fargo Center just in time. The parking lot was already beginning to fill with fans. We still had about an hour before the doors opened for the season ticket holders. So we had a little photo shoot, and we couldn't wait to post all of our pictures on social media because we were looking cute. And then we decided to mix and mingle with the other fans over at Xfinity. Y'all know, the food and drink venue across the parking lot. And y'all, the vibe was electric. There was also lots of Philly sports fans representing the Phillies and the Flyers. Keandra and I had a drink, and we were now ready for the first game of the playoffs. We headed back over to the Wells Fargo Center, and we now had early access to enter the building. Y'all, there is something about the NBA playoffs. I am already naturally excited during the regular season, but I am on a whole new level in the postseason, especially attending a live game. With 4 7-round series, we needed to win 4 games in each series to advance. So basically, we were only 16 wins away from hoisting that Larry O'Brien trophy. Round 1, game 1. Y'all, we beat the Toronto Raptors by 20 points, 111 to 131. Pascal Siakam led the Raptors with 24 points. Our young Tyrese Maxey had 38 points in 38 minutes, shooting 5 for 8 from 3. Toronto did not have an answer for Tyrese Maxey. Tobias Harris had 26 points. James Harden had 22 points. Joel Embiid had 19 points. But y'all, here's the thing. Embiid did not have to put up crazy numbers because he got help from everyone else. And y'all know I loved balanced scoring. Keandra and I were ecstatic. 1 win down, 3 more to go in this series. I posted on Facebook, "Do not underestimate my squad." Y'all, we were now 15 wins from a championship ring. We were off to a great start, and I couldn't be prouder of our team. Later, a Facebook friend posted, "Lauren, I just saw you on Fox 29 News." It was a video of the fans celebrating the win, leaving the arena, and of course, I found my way on the camera. Oh, and as far as our Philly sports trifecta, we were 2 for 3. Our Sixers won, the Phillies won, but y'all, the Flyers lost to the Buffalo Sabres 3-4. Damn, it was so close. Winning 2 out of 3 isn't bad, and it was still a great day in Philadelphia. Two days later, April 18th, it was round 1, game 2, at home. I wore my navy blue City Edition number 0 Tyrese Maxey jersey with Sixers in red across the chest. This time, my daughter Kendall went with me to the game. Same routine. We arrived early to take in the pre-game festivities. We walked the concourse and ran into Sixers legend, World Be Free. He was standing in an area set up in the main concourse for a meet and greet and photo op. We were handed a throwback poster of a young World Be Free wearing a Sixers uniform, which he autographed and wrote on the top, "To Lauren, World Be Free." I currently have that signed photo framed in my Sixers room. Kendall and I continued to mosey around the concourse when we saw a stand that sold signature margaritas called a Sixerita. Y'all know I love my margarita, especially a pregame margarita. Y'all, it was served in a cute little souvenir cup with the Sixers logo on the front. We had to get that. I took a photo holding my Sixerita with a caption, "I'm just going to sip on this Sixerita and enjoy Game 2. It was indeed another great game. We beat the Toronto Raptors again, this time 97-112. The Toronto Raptors' OG Anunoby had 26 points. Embiid had 31 points. Maxey had 23 points, shooting 50%, 3 for 6 from 3. Maxey did go down during the game, and I noted Maxey was just playing possum, y'all. Thank God he's okay. Harden had 14 points. And another highlight from that game, y'all, was seeing Danny Green running down the court and dunking the basketball. When I saw Danny Green dunk, I was like, damn, anything is possible. Because remember, just a few games prior, I had concern that the Green Ranger, y'all, that's his social media handle, was old and slow. Well, listen, Danny Green impressed the hell out of me. I couldn't believe he still had that lift. I was like, okay, Danny, I see you. He still had some hops, y'all. He played a great game. In fact, even Joel Embiid said after seeing Danny Green dunk that the league was going to drug test him. So yes, that Danny Green dunk was memorable. In fact, y'all, it was probably his last dunk of his NBA career. And man, just that fan reaction gave us the energy boost that we needed to seal the win over the Toronto Raptors. 2 down, 2 to go, 1 game at a time. Y'all, we were only 14 wins away from a championship. We did exactly what we were supposed to do, which was win both games at home to keep the home court advantage. We now had to travel to Toronto for Game 3. I was thinking, boy, it sure would be nice to steal a game on the road. But y'all, it wouldn't be easy because remember, we wouldn't have Matisse Thybulle since he wasn't fully vaccinated. Remember, I had mentioned in the last podcast that it was Canada's protocol that every person, including athletes, be fully vaccinated before entering the Canadian borders. Then, y'all, I saw a post on Facebook of a man who, if you looked closely, kind of resembled Matisse Thybulle, except he had a long, dark beard. The caption read, "The Sixers have signed Matisse Thybulle, and he will travel with the team for games 3 and 4 in Toronto." The photo was hilarious because it looked like Matisse Thybulle's long-lost, broke, distant cousin. This post made me laugh because I was thinking if it was only this easy to smuggle Matisse Thybulle into Toronto, because Lord knows we could use him for this game. On May 20th, Sixers Daily posted on social media, "The only 2 players in playoff history, 21 years or younger, to average 30 points per game and shoot 60% from the field in a 2-game span are LeBron James and our Tyrese Maxey." Wow, impressive, right? Then it was reported that Tyrese Maxey said he was watching the Sixers-Raptors game in 2019 as a senior in high school. And he said he remembered watching Kawhi Leonard's shot. Remember that quadruple doink, y'all? I'm still not over that. And the aftermath of it, and that he saw how much winning meant to Joel Embiid. Now, y'all remember, we didn't select Maxey until the following 2020 NBA draft. Maxey was a great pickup. I'm saying was, let me say present day, Maxey is a great pickup. And y'all, at the time, Maxey was being compared to the great Dr. J, Julius Erving. They were saying that in the first 2 games of the series, now this is comparing Maxey in the 2022 first round and Julius Erving in the 1982 Eastern semis. Maxey scored 61 points in the first 2 games. Dr. J scored 58 points. Maxey's field goal was 22 for 32, and it actually matched Dr. J, same, 22 for 32. Maxey's three-point shooting is 8 for 14 in those first 2 games, and there were no three-point shooting stats for Dr. J because obviously they weren't shooting three-pointers back in 1982 like we see it in today's NBA. But what this showed me was just the potential and the upside of us having Tyrese Maxey. Maxey was a young player, but even then you could tell he was going to be something special. Round 1, Game 3 was held on April 20th in Toronto. Y'all, it was a battle. We went to overtime with James Harden on the bench because he fouled out the game with 19 points. But y'all, somehow, we pulled out a miraculous win on the road, 104-101. The Raptors' OG Anunoby had 26 points, but get this, Embiid had 33 points, but y'all, he made a 3 to win the game. And what's crazy is I knew as soon as that ball left Joel's hands, it was going in. Embiid also had 13 rebounds. Harden and Maxey each had 19 points. Tobias played great defense, and he ended up with 11 points. But I noted that I was so impressed with Tobias on defense that I was actually considering wearing his jersey to the next home game, which would be Game 5 back in Philadelphia. But y'all, we did it. We managed to steal a game on the road without Matisse and had now won 3 straight games. We only needed one more win to advance in the series. We were up 3-0 and only 13 wins away from winning a championship. The date is April 23rd. Round 1, Game 4 on the road in Toronto. And there is breaking news that Joel Embiid has a torn ligament in his thumb. Seriously? Really? Y'all, the good news was that he was still expected to play. I'm like, yeah, Joel, I'm going to need you to suck it up. Get that joint wrapped, taped together, and get your butt out there and play. We need you. Your teammates need you. Come on. And y'all, for this game, I was wearing my red number 12 Tobias Harris jersey, just like I said I would after Game 3 when he was playing great defense. And I decided to attend a Sixers watch party at the Urban Saloon in the Fairmount section of Philly. I met up with my friends, Liz, Ian, and John. It was packed in there. But my girl Liz got there early and got us a table right in the middle of the pub. It was the best table location. NBC Sports Philadelphia host Danny Pommel's was there. Liz introduced us and told him that I was the biggest Sixers fan and I had been voted Fansided 2019 Fan of the Year. Danny Pommel's is cool. He had questions about my fandom, which I was happy to answer and talk about. We even took a photo together. Y'all, the Urban Saloon was rocking. Aside from the game, there was a lot of other stuff going on. There was even a raffle, and my friend Ian won a Sixers jacket. And then, y'all, the DJ played music during the timeouts and commercial breaks, and I would pull out my Sixers banner from my fanny pack and dance between the tables with it. That's something that I do, y'all. During the playoffs, I travel with my Sixers banner because I never know when I need to pull it out and rep our Philadelphia 76ers. We lost Game 4, 102-110. Pascal Siakam had 34 points. Gary Trent Jr. had 24 points. James Harden had 22 points. Joel Embiid had 21 points. Bang Bang George Niang came off the bench and had 3 clutch threes, and Tobias had a double-double, 15 points and 11 rebounds, but we still came up short. Now, even though I originally said Sixers in 5, I still felt like we could have won that game. Some of the refs' calls were a little sus. I was like, cool, we're just delaying this series because we're coming home and we will win Game 5 in front of the Sixers fans, and I will be in the building when we advance. Later that night, in unrelated Sixers news, I saw that Ben Simmons, who was now with the Brooklyn Nets, was out for Game 4. Ben Simmons had not played for Brooklyn after being acquired from our Philadelphia 76ers on February the 10th. I shared that post and added the caption, "You know what, y'all? He's no longer our problem. Y'all still think Brooklyn won the trade?" Because I could no longer worry about Ben and the Brooklyn Nets. I was focused on our newly constructed Sixers team with James Harden, and y'all, we had to get ready for Game 5. Round 1, Game 5, was home in Philly. My friend Helen went with me to the game. Helen and I had been friends since middle school, back at old Eisenhower Middle School in Norristown. I wore my cream-colored Joel Embiid jersey with Philadelphia written in cursive script in royal blue, the number 21 in red. And y'all, Helen and I got to the arena early. Of course, we had our little pregame drink up in the Cadillac Grill. And at the time, y'all, only the lower level season ticket holders had access to the Cadillac Grill. So y'all had me feeling like I was VIP. Helen and I headed on down to our seats. We wanted to be situated before all of the pregame stuff. We were feeling good about winning this game. The Raptors didn't have Fred VanVleet for this game, but remember, we now had Matisse Thybulle back because we were back on American soil in Philly where he was allowed to play. So y'all, I was feeling very optimistic. But early on in that game, I had a bad feeling. We just looked out of sync. Turnovers, lack of focus and intensity. And I don't think we ever had the lead in that game. And there was no sense of urgency. Poor ball movement, players just standing around, the ball was stagnant, and there were no set plays. We were just out there, running and gunning. And as fans in the arena, we felt it, and we matched the players' energy, which was meh. So, yeah, we lost Game 5, 103-88. We got our butts spanked. And y'all, Maxey didn't play well at all. And as much as I clowned Danny Green for being the old man on the team, y'all, he was giving us the most effort. And at times, he kept us in the game. I was disappointed because I felt like we should have swept the Toronto Raptors. And now we had to go into a Game 6 situation. Why didn't we close out this series at home? Now, our guys have to get back on the plane and go back to Toronto without Matisse Thybulle again. I couldn't figure out why we played so poorly. Was it Joel Embiid and his finger? I did notice him holding it throughout the game. Was it just fatigue? I didn't know, but I knew we had to figure it out. We just made it harder on ourselves. But at the same time, I had to credit the Toronto Raptors. They didn't want to face elimination either. So they came out and did what they needed to do to get the win. It's crazy how teams play when their backs are up against the wall. So y'all, we still led the series, but now it was 3-2. I was like, dear God, okay, now I'm getting nervous. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And join me next time as we continue the story.